I am pleased to welcome to the 2025 edition of Statehouse Conversations a familiar face, Bob Behning, Representative, Republican, Indianapolis, District 91, man of many titles, most related to education, formal, titles like education chair, informal titles like the architect of Indiana's voucher and school choice program, which I would be remiss if I didn't say one of the things likely to happen this session is essentially universal vouchers, so that anybody of any socioeconomic status can have opportunity to send their children via a voucher or scholarship, as it's more formally known, to school. That is gratifying, I presume, since you were the person who unveiled this, hatched it, 11, 12 years ago?
Actually, I ran on, trying to make sure parents had a voice, so back in 92. But in 2011 when we really officially launched it. Although in 2009 we started with a scholarship granting organization. But I'm very pleased that it's on the governor's agenda, House Republican agenda. I think the Senate is online, in line with it as well. So it sounds to me like Hoosiers will truly have an opportunity to choose what education environment best meets their son or daughter.
So fulfillment really of something that sort of was there front and center in your thinking way back when.
Yeah.
And it's often said that Indiana has the broadest school choice program in the country. I presume with a universal expansion, certainly that title is secure, is it not?
We do. I mean, there's a lot of states. I mean, like Florida will have more because of size, but they don't have as much options. It's not as open to everyone as, and there's other states who have ESAs, but they've all been limited. So Indiana has definitely been a leader. I think we go back and forth between Florida and Arizona once in a while in terms of who gets what. Florida clearly is much bigger, so they like to.
And they both have unbearable heat. We can't.
Oh yeah, it'd be terrible to have some of that right now.
We love the Four Seasons. Yes. Come on. So education, now that you've accomplished, you can cross that essentially, check that to-do box over the dozen or so years that you've nurtured that. What's the next challenge on the education front that you hope to see this session?
Clearly there's a lot of challenges. We want to make sure students are successful regardless. I have a couple bills this session. One that I'd bring up, one's House Bill 1002, which really is looking at trying to deregulate schools. It's about a 130-page bill. There's a lot of repealers. There's a lot of things that people, myself included, have authored over time that we're just eliminating or giving locals. I've kind of believe over time, I would love to see our system of education move from what I would call more of an industrial model where we're regulating and saying all these inputs have to be met, to moving more of a professional model where we're letting schools and school leaders and educators do what they do best and hold them accountable in the end for outcomes, as opposed to trying to regulate all the inputs. And that's the House Bill 1002 is the first start of that. We believe it's going to take 3 years for us to get through all of Title 20 and kind of redo the statute. So it's the first year of 3.
So if we know what success looked like in terms of universal vouchers, what does success look like in terms of deregulation in your estimation? When do you declare victory?
Well, I think I declare victory when I see academic success, kids having, where we see our iLearn scores, iRead scores moving in a direction where we have majority of our kids are proficient, that they're having opportunities in life to be successful and to move on to a life that is fulfilling and provides them an affordability to live the life that they choose. So it's not going to happen overnight, let's face it. One of the other bills that
Education, I've always said, is like the highway system. It's never done. It's always under construction,
That's
I suppose.
One of the other issues we're talking about is chronic absenteeism. COVID hit, all of a sudden absenteeism really rose. Indiana is a little bit lower than national average, but today, according to our data with the last school year, there's about 32% of high school seniors today are chronically absent, meaning they've missed 10 days or more. We have data that will show, if you look over a kid's life, there's some kids that have missed 1 or 2 year schools because unfortunately what happens is they start in elementary school and have higher numbers there, about 16 to 19%. It levels out about middle school, and then when it gets to high school, freshmen, it starts going up about 17 to 32%. So we're really focused on how do we make sure learning is more relevant to kids. There's a bill that I have that speaks a little bit more. We did some last year. I think the high school diploma redesign is another attempt to
Which is something you all mandated, you and your colleagues, in 2023, and now it's going through
Correct.
the regulatory process to be finalized by the Board of
Education.
Education.
Class of 29 will be the first class, although schools can opt into it now. But giving kids an opportunity to earn and learn, to really take what they're learning and apply it, it's going to make learning more relevant, and hopefully will help increase or decrease our absenteeism numbers, so kids will have ability to be more successful in life.
So I know in the past when there have been these discussions of, what we used to call playing hooky, I don't know if that term is still used, there was the debate between the carrot and the stick. You don't want to, but this, what you're saying is more carrot.
Correct.
In terms of engaging students.
For sure. I mean, we know that, I remember when Congressman Messer was in the House, which would probably been 2006, he actually had a bill that got on Oprah Winfrey because we were going to withhold driver's license for kids who were chronically absent in high school. What we're finding out, number one, kids are not as excited about driving today. At least some of my kids weren't when they were younger, and I hear that frequently from parents. But number two is that being more of a carrot is going to work much more than trying to beat somebody. I mean, that's just natural human nature, that we would rather find incentives. And if we could develop a system, especially in high school, where kids find not just that they are excited about learning, but the learning they are applying it every day, you're going to retain it, clearly. So it's a win-win for everybody.
We will be watching. I think it'd be hard to argue that there's anyone aside from you or could match you in terms of the impact you've had, a single lawmaker on education at the K through 12 level ever since your election back in '92. Some love it, some hate it, but I think it'd be hard pressed to say that you haven't had a significant and tangible impact. So, Bob Behning, I thank you for your commitment to public service. Thank you for taking time to chat with us about your views for the session, and thanks for your commitment to the state of Indiana.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Appreciate it.
Robert Behning, State Representative, Indianapolis, District 91.